Sorry if I'm just staring at the screen. If anybody's there, I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, hey. Hey guys. Oh my god. I've been going through it, trying to freaking figure this thing out. One sec. Um I don't know how to see my chat now on this thing. I found chat in there. Thank God for that. Uh where'd it go? There's this. That's cool. Where is Oh, this is the worst. I am very upset. My eyebrows are drawing closer down more and more. Where does my chat window pop up? All right, sorry guys. Stick with me. Stick with me. All right. Hmm. How to make YouTube chat pop up in OBS. I am sure this is very fun for everybody. Freaking A. I don't know. I don't guess I need to see all this anyways. I am going to just figure it out later. Hey, everybody. This will be the official start. We're going to probably have to cut this sucker short today, sadly, because it's starting so darn late. I might have time. I don't know. Troll Lover, April, Captain Blue Matrix, Dixie. Hello, everybody. Working my way through. Christy, yeah, up and running somehow. So here's the backstory. I know you guys probably don't care that much, but you can stream just through your browser and a webcam, which is nice and easy, which is what I've been doing. And then I got everything set up actually last night after our last stream for like doing video games if I wanted to, which you have to use a whole streaming software. I don't know if that is what caused this issue, but now it just would not go live whenever I try to just do it through a webcam because I don't need anything fancy. So, anyways, I'm using that streaming software now, and I somehow X'd out of the chat. Oh, see, this is not even lined up. Whoa. I X out of the chat in the stream software, and it's killing me. It is freaking killing me. I hate it. I just want to see it, and I don't know how to make it come back. So if anybody knows how to use OBS, I think I found it. Oh, oh, yes. Yes. Oh, okay. So this has been a really smooth one so far. This is going to be fun, guys. So, anyways, thank you for sticking around, everybody, and coming in. Hey, Sam, good to see you. Irvin, Tester, Michigan is having a snowstorm today. Nice cold weather. Went for a half-mile bike ride. Sweet. What kind of bike you got? You got those like big fat tires? Is that the way to go? You got like I used to have studded bike tires back before fat tire was as big as it was. I'm sure they were around, but I didn't see any at that time. The Blake Bake. All right. Leah. All right, guys. All right, sorry. I've wasted 28 minutes now of our Frank Glaser time. So I apologize for that. Let me just do I'm editing here. Oh, that's as small as it gets. I don't really need this that big. I'll look at it later. How do I? Oh, it's gone. Okay. I'm deleting stuff. I'm changing things. I can make the chat bigger. Oh, it doesn't make the size bigger. How do I make my font bigger? All right, whatever, guys. You're with me. Let me pull up the thing. Sorry, I'm a little flustered here. I keep apologizing. I get really, I get real mad at technical issues. I hate it. I worked through a lot of stuff yesterday that also did not make me happy. But I made it through. So, by the way, I can do video game streams. But if today is any showing of what that's going to be like, sorry, probably not going to go good. So, okay, let's get back in. We're talking about Alaska's Wolfman. the 1915 to 55 Wilderness Adventures of Frank Glaser, the book written by Jim Reardon. So we kind of cover a little bit about who Frank was and about how Frank was getting to Fairbanks. And then we're doing like a little side quest here of Roadhouse stories, because the Roadhouses are kind of their own character in this book, I feel like. All the different Roadhouses and the owners of the Roadhouse. Super, super fun. So remember where we were. We talked about the homemade automobile. We talked about the 2-story building that the snowdrifts would literally cover everything except the stovepipe, and they'd have to tunnel down. That was pretty awesome. Okay, I think we're here. So here we go. A few days before my arrival at Miller's Roadhouse, a big man with a long black beard remained there overnight. Next morning, heading for Fairbanks, he waded the first glacier stream he came to without difficulty. Then he came to Kastner's Creek, which pours out of Kastner Glacier. The water was high, with standing waves surging 2 and 3 feet. When frequently flipped 2 or 3 feet out of the racing water, when high, that stream rolls boulders 1.5 feet in diameter, and rocks as big as softballs are frequently flipped 2 and 3 feet out of the racing water. Here, Blackbeard removed all his clothing but his boots. I hope he was a good-looking man. Rolled them into a bundle with a few rocks inside for weight, and tied the bundle with a string. Evidently, he hadn't slept well, or he had poor eyesight. Maybe he spent the night scratching lice. He planned to toss the clothing across and then wade the stream so he'd be nice and dry on the other side, on the far side. He threw as hard as he could, but the bundle landed midstream and disappeared instantly. Anna Greenberg, cook and housekeeper at Miller's, had heard of people going crazy from mosquitoes and tearing off their clothing. She told me she thought that was the explanation when she looked out the window and saw the big naked Blackbeard tearing toward the Roadhouse, yelling and slapping mosquitoes. It took a lot of sweet talk to get her to let him in and provide him with clothing. I love that one. So if you guys don't know, Alaska's state bird, jokingly of course, is the mosquito. We have a ton of mosquitoes. They're huge. They're all over the place. So I can imagine how much of a nightmare that would be. Just being completely naked out there with nothing going on. Here we go. Malia, not too big of an issue. We can still hear you, and we're happy to see you. Good. Yeah. No, I've been silently. I've started like 5 different streams trying to get them working over the past 25. No, it's been more than that. 45 minutes. So, anyways. Ethan, you have missed nothing because I've started late. Jack's the man. What is up, my friend? What is up? Okay, so let's keep going here. I like Blackbeard. Not as good as a Redbeard, of course, but Blackbeard's okay. That's fine. All right. Again, these are excerpts, so hopefully they'll make sense when I start reading them. Charlie Miller, a fellow sourdough, was living mostly on canned food. When he opened a can, he used a butcher knife to cut a cross on the top of the cans. Then he bent the 4 pieces of the lid back and tossed the empty cans behind the new building where he threw his dishwater. While I was there, that spot was a moving mass of snowshoe hares where unbelievably the animals were eating the dishwater-flavored dirt. The first evening I was there, 3 or 4 of the rabbits caught their heads in Charlie's empty cans and ran around bumping into things. Charlie turned one of his sled dogs loose and caught it and ate the canned rabbits, quote-unquote, canned rabbits. Audio left channel sounds metallic, right channel is dead. Thanks for letting me know. This sucks. I hate this so much. All right, let me see if I can do something here. Practical Madness is the one who's helping me out here. Bop. Yeah, it's showing up just on one side. Audio input. What if? Pop, 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 pop. All right, can you guys still hear me? Give me a 1, I guess, in chat. I'm talking. I'm doing things. Yeah, things are good. Everything sound better? Is it the same exact way? Don't know how to change it. The little mixer is so much. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to keep powering through. I don't really know. Sorry about the metallicness. Oh, it's fixed. Okay, better? Much better? All right, I don't know what was going on there. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for letting me know. I had like 2 audio tracks going on, so I don't know if... I don't know. I don't even know what I'm looking at. It's getting my audio somehow. So, alrighty. Still no left. Practical Madness, thank you. Thank you for filling me in. Here, I'm going to try one more thing, guys. This is going to be the tester live, so you guys you're here to help me out. So thank you very much. Audio input. I'm going to delete something out of here. And then you guys are going to say, where is it? Where is it? One sec. Scarlet. Okay. No, this is the same thing as before. Left good, no right. Yeah, I don't really know. You're gonna have to listen with your left headphone. When you have like sound bars bouncing around, when I'm talking, it is bouncing, but it is only bouncing on one side. These are like somewhat nice mic here, so it should not be giving me that issue. But I'm gonna have to do a bunch of troubleshooting. So sorry guys, I will figure that out. That's something I don't need to be live for. So, anyways, you have your guys' right ear to hear your kids crying in the kitchen. This has been a fun one, guys. I was on cloud 9 after yesterday's stream, although that one ended short and weird in the same way, which I was bummed about. I really enjoyed yesterday's, though. So let's keep rolling here. Canned rabbits. I want to talk about canned rabbits. Great way to get canned rabbits. Never done that. That seems a little inhumane if you don't catch them in time, I guess. They may have a can on their head stuck out there in the wild. Not for long, I guess they'd be dead. Something would get them. However, the snowshoe hare population around here, always think is really cool. I was talking about the foxes, all the foxes we have in the area. Can I straighten this? It is what it is. All the foxes we have in the area. The snowshoe hares and the foxes have a super interesting relationship, and it's like a 7-year cycle that they go through with their populations peaking and going up and down through peaks and valleys. And it's kind of chicken and egg scenario, like which was first, I suppose. But anyways, the fox population gets low because there aren't enough snowshoe hares to eat. And so the snowshoe hare population, because they can breed like bunnies, believe it or not, starts to rise and rise and rise. And then at about, I guess every 3.5 years, it gets to the top. Yeah, we'll say like 3.5 years from the valley. Maybe it's 7 years each way. Anyways, doesn't matter. Whatever the cycle is, the hares get at their all-time high. They're just all over the place. And then the foxes, of course, they're a little slower to propagate, although not that slow. They've got more food source now. And so the fox population will go up, and then the cycle starts all over again. So they kill a bunch of the hares off, and then they start dying off. So it's kind of a rough world. When you say that stuff, I always think like, it's kind of, terrible or whatever. But then you really think about it, it's like we just have huge populations of fox starving, huge populations of hares, of course, being violently killed by foxes. But that is a circle of life. Ethan Butterworth, what are your technical problems? Oh man, I don't even want to list them. Don't even talk to me about it. I'm so mad. A Violent Mind, you have missed nothing. I have been trying to get live for like the last 30 minutes, so we're just starting here. No worries. Malia, you work in IT. It's better to just roll with the tech issues and try to fight them. Steer into the skid. I like that. Throttle out. When in doubt, throttle out. That's the old snow machine saying. That's adage, I guess you can say up here. When in doubt, throttle out. Zachary, thanks. Thank you so much. Practical Madness Classic Feedback Control Loop. Yes, I have no idea what that means. I'm not, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'll get it figured out. A Violent Mind, this is really interesting. Not being sarcastic. Thank you for letting me know that you weren't being sarcastic. I could have taken that the wrong way and got real mean real quick. I'm on the edge, folks. You say one mean thing to me here, I'm on the edge. All right, anyways, thought that was interesting about the hare population. So let's hit this next part. More Roadhouse stuff. Amar's Roadhouse was at the upper end of Tenderfoot. Amar, a bald old goat of about 55, had some land under cultivation and a barn. He couldn't keep a cook at his roadhouse. In response to his newspaper advertisements, the stage would bring a woman out from Fairbanks. She'd work for an afternoon perhaps, cooking supper. Then Amar would show her where she was to sleep. After she was in bed, he would walk in on her, declaring, "I always sleep with my cooks." The women usually left through a window or shoved by Amar, and fled to Hem's mine a couple of 100 yards away. Amar was finally put under observation at the Fairbanks hospital. He tried to commit suicide, which convinced authorities that he was insane and he was committed to an institution. Amar, you're nasty. And I know this is like 1915 or whatever it was. It wasn't even okay then, obviously. The women didn't care for those attentions. I find it funny. Again, in the moment, it's like when we've stepped away from it, and probably all the people that are involved are now dead. And it's kind of hilarious to think, like, in the right context, that could be in a funny movie. And like, oh, that guy, it's so funny. And then in the other context, it's like a horror movie, getting trapped in here with this crazy guy who's trying to sleep with all the cooks. But then we think back to Swearing Amy. Was that her name? The big lady who beat her husband all the time. And we're not being sexist here. Swearing Molly. But if a woman beats her man, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. But if a guy walks in on a woman cook and tries to sleep with her, not as funny. It just doesn't go both ways. April Unger, deep breath. Yeah, I am trying. No, I feel good, guys. I'm just joking with you, of course. I do hate technical difficulties, but I like being here. So, Easy BD, you ever eaten haggis or hare? I don't know how it's spelled. I don't know if hare was were that supposed to be two together? I've never eaten hare. I mean, I've had hair in my mouth and I've spit it out the best I can. Maybe some of them have gone down unintentionally. I can't imagine ever eating hair. I think some people have a fetish of eating hair, and I don't get that at all. But to each their own, I suppose. And haggis, no, I've never eaten haggis. I'd give it a shot. Isn't it like I don't know. I don't think it's actually haggis is not the traditional haggis is not legal in the U.S. I think it has lung in it. Is it lung? And that's not allowed. I think it's lung. We can eat liver here. So there's like a non-lung version or something that can come to the U.S. I've not even had that, but I would like to travel abroad and get a little haggis. That sounds nice. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. That shirt is dope. Yes, my little lion guy from the state jiu-jitsu competition. Thanks. April Unger, a hare. A hare is like a rabbit. There is a difference. I'm going to Google it because I don't remember what it is. Difference between a hare and a rabbit. A hare is generally larger than a rabbit, has longer ears and longer hind legs, often living above ground in nests, while rabbits are smaller and live in underground burrows called warrens. So that is what I thought. I'm sure we could go different, even further here. Ethan, you can't wait to tell your friends the story. Good. I was reading this book. I don't know. I can't ever tell if you guys are sarcastic, so if it is, whatever. But Ethan, you should read this book, all in its completion. It's wonderful. I have honestly not finished it. I was doing it for, like I told you guys, to do a podcast with Brandon and Cam, and I was getting a bunch out. I got pages and pages of notes on it, and then I have all these other books I'm reading. I went and traveled down there. We didn't end up doing it, so I have yet to go back to it. So I need to, I'm maybe 2/3 of the way through, but it's such a good read. And every time I got done reading, I would just go to my wife and be like, oh, you won't believe what I read this time. So I'd give her a much worse version of the story because I wasn't referring to my notes. Leisha, how late are you? You're not late. Barely at all. Started late myself, so we're only in about 10 minutes here or something, 10, 15. Oh, I was wondering if you meant hare versus hare. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that makes more sense. We were talking about the hares. I gave a little lesson on hares, and that was not at all the question. I've actually never had snowshoe hare up here, so I would like to. I have gone on a snowshoe hare hunt, and it was not successful, obviously. Didn't even see one. I have seen tracks all over the place. I've seen them like jumping away from me at times when I didn't have a gun, but I've yet to get one. So that is yet another idea for a video. I want to do hunting videos in general, but I think the snowshoe hares could be a lot of fun. Thank you, April. That was a good hair like the rabbity thing. Easy BDD. There we go. We got it figured out. Malia asked Brandon to make you haggis. You just got to make sure you tell him that you will not eat raw bung. I don't know. I'm not against bung, whatever. I'd say that's what, I don't know about raw, I suppose. Maybe you want to cook it. They say that a lot of the calamari served is pork bung, which is just their butt whole. Alicia is never sarcastic. That's good to know, Alicia. I'll keep that in mind. Ethan, awesome. I was going to ask if it was a book reading. Reading is my favorite activity. No sarcasm. Good, Ethan. Good. And you're like 15, right? So that's good to hear. I'm glad. I love reading as well. Sometimes I get out of the flow of reading and end up watching too many shows or playing video games or something, but I generally have at least one book I'm reading at a time. Troll Lover is technical issue Wednesday for Blake. Sorry. Yeah, it sucks. Have I had alligator? Christy Musalami? Yes, I have. There was one at a Bass Pro Shop, I guess. And it tasted like white meat. It tasted pretty dry. I've heard a lot of people have had it, and they said it was excellent, so I may have just had like an overcooked piece or something. It was okay. It wasn't bad or anything. Didn't make me gag. Alicia, may you always only see animals while without a weapon. Alicia. We gotta eat. We gotta eat around here. April says alligator's good. See, yeah, you must have had it better than I. I think I just had it prepared wrong. I would definitely try again. Sam Rooney, you got a copy? I just saw you reading. Sweet, of this book? Awesome. You guys should read along. I don't know how far I am in it. I should have made page notations. Practical Madness. The pork bung thing was debunked. Very good. Or debunked. I like that a lot. Good job, Practical Madness. Got a giggle out of me. Ethan Butterworth. Brandon made Cam gag with baby alligator. I've seen that. That was disgusting. I should ask him about that. I don't think I did. There's too many crazy things I've seen him do. Whenever I see him, we have a lot to talk about, and I never get through it all. But the stinking carcass of alligator, baby alligator in that room, that is crazy. That's crazy. It would be cool to do a roast or something with an alligator like that, for sure. Okay. We talked about Blackbeard. We talked about canned rabbits. All right, here we go. Amar. Yep, we already did Amar, the little sicko. Okay, here we go. This is Frank Glaser from his perspective. I stopped to talk with Jack Taylor at his fox farm 52 miles from Fairbanks. His pens brimmed with beautiful silver foxes. Pause. It'd be so cool to have farms like that. As far as I know, you're not allowed to farm wild animals in Alaska. I don't know if that's each state ruling or if that's a federal thing. I think it's a state thing. So that's a bummer. I had a friend up here, a fellow real estate agent who back in the day, shout out to Doug Welton, wanted to do a moose farm. And they caught up to him. The old, I don't know who would fish and game. I don't know who enforced that. Made him release. He caught a baby moose and stuff or something. That'd be an interesting story. I should have Doug on. Doug can talk anyone's ear off. But anyways, sorry. Fox farm, beautiful silver foxes. Oh, okay. Taylor was angry and upset about an incident of the previous day. He had owned an unusually tame vixen silver fox. Oh, vixen. When she had pups, he could handle them, and he could pet and handle the vixen. When her pups reached good size, he let her out every evening, and she would run off to catch a rabbit. When she returned carrying this food for her pups, she would bark, and he would open the door to her pen and let her in. The previous evening, a traveler on the road shot and killed the vixen, then brought the animal to Taylor and asked him to skin it for him since he didn't know how. Jack snatched the man's rifle and kept it after telling the traveler he had just killed his most valuable fox. He kept the dead fox, telling me that the unhappiest job he'd ever tackled was skinning his beloved pet. Jack Taylor. That sucks. That freaking sucks, right? That's like having a dog. I mean, almost a dog, a fox, and having to skin it, but what would you guys do if you got it? Like, would you just like bury it with its skin on? I guess you could. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but maybe he wanted like a memento of it or something. That sucks. Get that guy's gun though. Bet that guy felt like an idiot. Like, I wonder how it went. It doesn't go into detail, but was there a tussle or did the guy just kind of like, oh, okay, you can have my gun, just kind of walk off? I don't freaking know, man. But, oh, man. Malia, sometimes just being near Brandon triggers the gag. Yes, yeah. Easy BD. I tried haggis, but it was gross, but made of heart, lung, liver, and oats. You gotta throw some commas in there. I was like, what's a heart lung? And oats stuffed in a sheep's stomach and boiled. Yeah, that does not sound good, but troll liver. I just saw a fox go down my street, middle of your street. Awesome. Yeah, we were just talking about foxes. Here's an interesting fact about foxes. It's not really about foxes at all. It's about the wolves, which we're talking wolfman, so this counts. Is all dogs have been bred down from wolves. Which is like, when you first hear that, it's like, yeah, that's whatever. But why have there been no dogs, no breeds or anything like that, no domesticated like foxes or other like canine animals? I don't know. Like this one sounded like that one was pretty nice and kind of getting domesticated. You think somebody out there, maybe somebody has. I know people have like pet foxes, but I'm not aware of like a really domesticated breed from them. Maybe that's happening. I'm not aware of. Tracy, the milk must wait, says Leisha. I missed Tracy's comment, though, but I just like that enough. I wanted to say it. Because out of context, it's hilarious. The circle of life, yes. Stinking it sucks. There's another story in here like this. I can't wait to get to it. So frustrating. Alrighty. When I arrived there in 1915, Fairbanks, population 3,500. Side note, right now, it is about 50,000 in Fairbanks. Fairbanks, population 3,500, was a 13-year-old frontier mining camp of log cabins and dirt streets. Excitement was in the air, and everyone seemed to have a sense of purpose. The town lived on gold and fur. Gold discovered there in 1901 was king during the brief summers. Miners wanted to take advantage of every hour. That was just a little tidbit about Fairbanks, which I thought was kind of fun, not so much a funny story. All right, so next, market hunting. So that was kind of some of the Roadhouse stuff there. Senior Spookfest. Have you seen the giant wolf chasing a big dog? I can send a link for you. I have not. I have not seen that. Practical Madness, like in the 60s. I've missed something. Ethan Butterworth. I saw a documentary in the dog-wolf evaluation. It evaluated the dog-wolf situation. I'd be interested in that. What was the name of the documentary? I love dogs a lot. Alicia, Brandon sent you camel milk. Alicia, how'd it taste? I've heard camel milk. I thought about doing a camel farm briefly. I didn't actually get too far into the research, but I thought about it for the milk. Cappy Carpa, good afternoon to you. Loki Games, what's up? My day is good. Oh, you got kidney stones. That sucks. Sorry, Loki. That is not fun at all. I've never had them, but I can imagine. And I don't like the feeling. I'm imagining it right now, and I'm getting tense in just a very particular area. Easy BD, my mom was outside late at night and thought a fox was our dog and pet it. Our dog is orange. Got really scared when she realized, yeah, that could have sucked. I'm surprised the fox is so chill. They're usually so skittish. Correction from Leisha, Brandon's assistant sent me camel milk. I'm sure. That's fine. He's a busy man. Alicia can't get over how large moose are. Yeah, absolutely. The old moosin'. Senior Spookfest been chased down a mountain by a moose one up in Maine. Holy smokes. But that was fun. That's got to be terrifying. You kind of forget the size of things. Like on the screen or whatever it is, moose, all the things we've talked about. But my biggest reminder lately of that is I went to Hawaii. That's been over a year ago, I guess, when we swam with the turtles. And turtles are like the sea turtles there at least are super gentle. You're not supposed to touch them, but you can snorkel with them. And it's really, really awesome. However, when I first get in there and the water was where we were at was a little bit like kind of murky, and then we're looking for them, and like this dark shadow comes out of the murkiness and it's just munching away. There is like a moment of like where it just like my stomach drops. Where they're big. I assume because of their shell and stuff, they probably weigh as much as I do or close to. I don't know how much sea turtles weigh, but even the small ones. So that is always a good reminder of wild animals and how I don't know. I have a keen sense of self-preservation, I will say. It's like I'm stuck in the water with little prehistoric sea monsters, what it felt like. Zach Bowe just spent 6 hours editing. Thankfully, I get off work in an hour. Zach, what are you editing? I'm assuming videos, but do you work for someone? Is this your own videos? What is this? Oh, no. Malia, dude being chased by a moose sounds horrifying. Yes, it is. They can kill you so fast. I mean, I've never had it happen, but, I would assume it would be. Senior Spookfest, however, thought it was a big horse. Also scary. Big animals. All big animals. I have a healthy respect for them. Tracy, yeah, I did swim with the turtles. That's my favorite thing. I've done that like 2 or 3 times. The first time we went to Hawaii, we swam with turtles, and it was by far the highlight. This last time I went, I think we've done it every time. I love snorkeling. And if you're down there on Oahu, there's like Turtle Bay we went to. A few of the bays are just full of those suckers. So fun. Rory, hey man. Even baby moose I just seen on my street in Aurora subdivision was the size of Vita beetle. I know, they're huge. Hey Sam, I gotta say, definitely feel like I lived a sheltered life in Northern Ireland. Ain't no big wild animals to eat me here. That's okay. You got the big Irish up there. They may be down to eat. Zach edited some of your shorts and your own videos. I was editing a video myself, not for 6 hours. I can't spend that much time on a day usually on it, but hopefully I've been trying. My Sunday videos, the earliest I have finished editing them has been Friday, so it just keeps getting pushed. So I would love to go to a 2-a-week video upload schedule, but I need to be able to edit faster or just have more time to edit, so I'm working on that. We'll see. Malie, you've never seen one, and you've never seen a moose, I assume you're talking about, and you're okay with that? They're not the scariest thing. I don't know. Zach, no one will hire me for their videos. LOL. I don't know. Keep trying, man. Hey, you put a resume out? I don't guess you put a resume. Somebody will. Video editing sucks. I'm not going to hire you, so don't ask. I don't have any money for that. I'm still just trying to figure it out myself. Yeah, moose, and you just get used to what you're used to. So when you see them, I don't feel too scary. Don't feel too scared. But to be honest, probably the biggest way moose kill people is by hitting them with your car, which sucks for everybody, obviously, moose included. Senior Spookfest. All right, I'll go check that link out after this, man. Katie Cat, I live in Florida, so I see 13-feet alligators so often it doesn't even faze me. Now, that sounds terrifying. So maybe this is how Malia is feeling about the moose situation, because I feel like, what's the big deal? But alligators are out there eating meat and kids and stuff, so I think that is a little bit different. They're literal monsters. They're like, what in the world? No, I don't know about that. And especially, like, not that you're swimming out there with them or anything, Katie, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to get too comfortable. We had one area when I lived in Arkansas. It was this particular park that you could walk through that there had been a lot of sightings of, I don't know if it's alligator or crocodile. I believe it's alligator, right? Crocodiles are not as common. Is that right? I can't remember. But they've been cited many times, enough that they legit put up like real signs, like the Parks and Rec department or whoever was like, hey, alligator sightings. I never saw them, but it was like a real marshy, swampy area, and you're walking through, and I'm just thinking, like, that thing came out at me. The only thing I know is you're supposed to run into zigzag pattern. April, you'd rather eat the alligators than encounter them. True. All right, let's get back here. Oh yeah. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Come back to talk to you guys. So, Alaska Wolfman here, Mr. Frank Glaser. We were talking about the roadhouses now, and I think there's going to be some more roadhouse stories, but now we're kind of moving into market hunting, which market hunting is basically, killing wild game to sell the meat or sell the pelts. And in this case, most of this is going to be the meat selling. It did say that selling game meat was made illegal in 1912, but as the most dependable source of meat, this was ignored by most, including government officials. So there's a lot of stories that's obviously we're already past 1912, where Frank's out there doing market hunting, and it's the government like road crews and stuff that are contracting him out to do it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, back into Frank's perspective. On my first day of hunting, I walked from Rapids south on the Valdez Trail, scanning canyons with binoculars. I soon spotted a band of about 20 white sheep high on the mountain, keeping out of sight. I climbed a rough, steep canyon, eventually working my way above them, since the wild sheep are most alert to danger from below. I then crawled down through a dense stand of alders to within easy range. I selected a large ram bedded at the base of the cliff about 75 yards away and fired at his neck with a .30-06 box magazine Winchester I had bought in Seattle. The ram's head dropped, a splotch of blood appeared on his white neck, and he kicked a couple of times. The other sheep stood up and came together in a loose band, staring my way. Taking my time, I selected another large ram and also shot him in the neck. He dropped without even kicking. I shot only 2 animals, not wanting to kill more than I could pack out of the mountains before the meat spoiled. Confused and alarmed, the remaining sheep didn't run until I stood up. I gutted the 2 rams and removed their heads and legs. I lashed one sheep. Where'd I go? I lashed one to my packboard and carried it to a nearby glacier and cached it on the ice. It took the rest of the day to pack the other ram down the steep mountain and along the trails to the rapids. I telephoned the nearest road commission camp asking them to send a horse-drawn wagon to pick up the sheep. They agreed to come for the second animal the next day after I packed it out. There were a number of camps within 50 or 60 miles, and if one camp had a surplus of meat, they'd send it on to another. I got 25 cents a pound for sheep, caribou, and moose. Those 2 rams brought me more than $50. Big money in 1915. The same meat delivered to Fairbanks restaurants and meat markets would have brought 50 cents a pound, but the problem was getting it there. My first hunt set the pattern. I usually killed 2 sheep at a time, commonly caching one at a glacier, which are plentiful in the mountains near rapids. Willow trees normally grow near the face of the glacier, and I learned to lay a willow branch across an ice crevasse and swing the sheep from it on a rope, a perfect place to cool and preserve the meat. This also protected meat from prowling grizzly bears. The sheep lived at an altitude of 4,000 to 5,000 feet, and even when a glacier wasn't near, meat I cached was usually safe from blowflies, for it was too cold for them. So that I just thought that was a super, super interesting story of how, I don't know, just like how he ignores how hard things are. So getting sheep is not an easy thing to do. It may have been easier in 1915. Maybe they weren't as scared of humans at that time, or maybe they were more plentiful. I'm almost positive they're more plentiful. Sheep hunts up here are just really, really tough and grueling physically, getting way up there, shooting to, taking the time to gut and prepare the meat for packing it out. It all just takes like a bunch of time. He did send somebody else up to get the second one, but just like every day, like if you guys have hunted at all, like one of those trips is just exhausting, and this is like his job, and I'm sure you get used to anything. But anytime I've gone hunting and packing animals out, it's like, anyways, it's so much freaking work. It's so freaking exhausting. And then he's going to do that and then head right back out, which is a lot of people's dream life, I'm sure. And I would love to do more of that, but I don't know. I don't know if I could keep up with it. Rory, a lot of us stop and take pics, as I did, LOL, but Blake is right about the accidents on the roads, though there are a few crazy people that will try to ride them. But we don't try it. Never will. Never will end well. Yeah, no, I wouldn't try riding a moose for sure. He's talking about moose if I didn't give context there. A violent mind. I have a gigantic dog-sized raccoon that eats our garbage. That's the scariest I've got in Illinois. Well, yeah, those can get you. They give you rabies or something. So that's something to be afraid of for sure. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Or read you. Alicia, I would be so scared to walk in a place with animals who eat people. Yeah, the bears. So my wife is definitely afraid. I am afraid of bears. Again, I have a respect for bears. However, I kind of forget about them. I don't really think about it too much, but every time we go out, excuse me, in the summertime when they're not hibernating, my wife is like on high alert, yelling and, making a bunch of noise to scare bears off and things like that. So, yeah, and that, of course, reminds me, we've got kids, and that does make me more concerned, of course. But I'm pretty sure I could outrun them, so I'd at least have a little kid snacks for them. Ethan Butterworth, alligators or crocodiles and tigers and polar bears are the only animals that actively eat humans. Like, seek them out, you mean? Because a grizzly bear will certainly eat a human, but as far as I've heard, yeah, polar bears seem to like actively want to hunt them down. Alicia's hiding behind Ethan. Katie Cat, yeah, alligators don't really eat people like that, and the zigzag thing is a myth. Oh, no, Katie. How do you get away from them? If they want to eat you. I don't know. I don't think you can run fast enough. Oh, man. Well, it's probably best I know the truth, I suppose, that the zigzag's not going to work. Rory Callis, he makes it sound as simple as running to the store when he's working his butt off. I don't know if I missed the context for that, Rory. Sorry. Hey, Heather. Bit late. That's okay. I started late. I'm probably going to have to pinch this one off pretty soon. Alicia, like hauling another body. LOL sounds gross the way you put it. Oh, Rory, yeah, we're talking about we're talking about Frank Glaser here. Sorry, I get distracted really easy. Yes, he does make it simple. Like every like here's I did this, and I'm going down. It's like nope, it's a huge dangerous thing. Easy BD, only dangerous thing in the UK are cows and dogs, like most dangerous chihuahuas. Chihuahuas? That's not how you spell chihuahua, if that's what you're trying to say, but that is A-OK. The Wolfman. Yeah, Rory. I got it after I said it. My bad, guys. I'm bad at following conversations here. I'm trying to keep up with you. All right, let's get one more little section in here, and then I'm going to have to call it. I got, sorry this one's cut short, but we got something in, and that is better than nothing. All right, back on kind of market hunting here. In a way, I was like a rancher who raised animals for market, only my livestock weren't fenced in. The rams I killed didn't affect production of lambs, for one ram can cover 10 to 15 ewes, and plenty of rams were left. Excuse me. A few others hunted where I did, and game was wonderfully abundant. The road commission bought all the meat I could deliver, and during construction season I hunted full-time, weather permitting. My hunts generally went smoothly, but I did occasionally have problems with the abundant grizzly bears. Yeah, I bet. On a day's hunt, I commonly saw 4 or 5 of these big predators. I often returned for a carcass, only to find that a grizzly had dragged it off and eaten or buried it. At the time, like most Alaskans, I saw no value in grizzlies. They were simply dangerous pests that stole my meat. These big bears were especially troublesome if I killed caribou in the bench country bordering sheep range. I'd pack half the caribou to the roadhouse and return the next morning for the other half. Often a grizzly would have gobbled up much of the meat I left, covering the rest with moss, twigs, dirt, and leaves. The bear would sprawl behind the pile to keep other bears, wolverine, ravens, and whatever else away from his meat. After a few encounters with grizzlies, I learned to always carry my rifle when returning for cached meat, even though it was a hindrance and extra weight. If I approached from upwind so a bear could smell me, he'd usually stand, look me over, and get out, even if guarding meat. If he couldn't smell me, but heard me coming, he would know what I was. Such bears often stood and approached to look me over. Usually a loud yell and maybe a shot fired in the ground sped them on their way. Sometimes they wanted to argue, so I always had to be prepared for these aggressive fellows. Again, like, I had to be ready for these aggressive fellows. He's talking about a freaking man killer. They are made for killing, and Frank's out here like shooting into the ground, which is good. And everybody's got like an idea. I mean, maybe you guys haven't imagined getting attacked by a bear. Like you have this idea of how it may go, and you hear stories of like, oh, they killed the bear, this and that, and people are like, why didn't they just fire a warning shot or just try to hurt the bear or something? And it's like, man, the suckers, they run 40 miles an hour, so if they're coming at you, you don't have any time at all. Anyways, I don't know. So he's got a lot of confidence in his rifle skills, depending on how close they get, and you guys will see. I gotta end this one. I don't know. I don't know how we'll ever get through all of these. I'll have to be better at reading and talking less in between. But anyways, he's got a few like crazy bear encounters that in the moment, I wonder if you were just sitting across the table from Frank, if he would be like, oh, I was terrified, I was pooping my pants. But the way he handled himself, it just seemed like he was like totally in control. And yeah, just kind of the same feeling like, yeah, they got a little aggressive with me. Tracy Salgado, do moose and bears go in your yard? I've never had a bear in my yard. I'm sure they do in some areas. We're not like the most abundant bear country here in Fairbanks. There are definitely bears around. But moose, yes. Yeah, just had one. I think I was streaming outside 2 days ago, and a moose went through the front yard, so I couldn't show you guys because I was in the backyard and had a bunch of cords hooked up to my stuff. Hey, Shelbs. Love you too. He's out and about. They're touring a fishery. Annie Cannelli, hello, back to you. Heather Fall, I've heard stories of people getting like ripped apart by bears. Yep, that does happen. Leisha, you're doing great at multitasking. Yeah, men are not known for their multitasking. Also, I didn't sleep very much last night. I stayed up too late watching Severed, which I've brought up every single stream. We've watched the first 2 episodes now. So I've been trying to get 1 episode in a day, and I didn't get to bed till like past 11, sleeping, which is hard for me. Some people I know operate on less, but like 6-7 hours is not enough for me. All right, I said I'd end, but let's do one more. I just love reading about this guy. Here we go. And then don't worry, guys. I will figure out the right headphone for you, the right side of the sound next time. It's going to sound beautiful. In the late fall of 1916, when the road construction season ended and the road commission had no more need for meat, I moved to Darling Creek, just below the Rapids Roadhouse, and built myself a log cabin. In late December, with a team of 3 dogs and a sled, I mushed about 30 miles west to a high bench on the north slope of the Alaska Range, where I built another log cabin. While building, I lived in a wall tent heated with a wood stove. After I'd been on the high bench for a day or two, the temperatures plummeted to 60 below zero. I had little food and needed meat for the dogs and myself. In reaching the site, my dog sled had been filled mostly with axes, saws, chisels, hinges, and wood, a window, spikes, a stove and stovepipe, and my tent. There wasn't much room for food. I left my rifle outside in the cold, for I had learned that moisture condenses on a cold-soaked rifle taken into a warm tent or cabin. When it is again taken out into the cold, the moisture may turn to ice, jamming the rifle. Despite the deep cold, with my frigid rifle, I sought one of the many caribou feeding on a nearby flat. On snowshoes, I approached several caribou. The animals saw and heard me and fled. Frustrated, I floundered through deep snow for the better part of an hour. Finally, with my 30-06, I aimed above the shoulder of a caribou a good 400 yards away and fired. I was amazed at the lack of sound when the rifle fired. It sounded almost like a small firecracker. In later years, I heard others shoot heavy-caliber rifles in deep cold, and the sound was more like that of a .22 rimfire than a heavy rifle. Although the 30-06 made little sound when fired, the distant caribou collapsed with a bullet through the lungs. Now the dogs and I had meat. I thought that was interesting. I thought 60 below, let's put this into context. He has to leave his gun outside, which of course is metal, and if you touch anything, any metal, anything, when it's like 10 below or colder, your hands freeze like instantly. Obviously, he had gloves, mitts, whatever on, but that cold is certainly coming through when you're holding it. So that's pretty hardcore as it is, but you don't want your gun jamming. And then the hiking around at 60 below. I've never been in 60 below that I'm aware of. Like I said, a 50 below is somewhat common here. It doesn't happen every year. And when it's that cold, I just don't go outside that long. I don't plan to be outside. Super dangerous, in my opinion, for someone such as I. But he's living that life, man. He had just enough stuff to make his tent and didn't bring any food. He was going to be hunting out there. And then it dropped so freaking cold. I can't not even imagine what that'd be like. And then you're just stuck out there getting that caribou. And then you got that rifle that's kind of like it's silenced by the cold, which is kind of funny because you would think the cold, I feel like up here people have talked about how the cold can kind of almost carry sound further when it's cold. I don't know. Maybe that's just a old wives' tale or whatever. But snow is really nice here. It does, it's like an acoustic material almost. It's like an insulator for sound. So like when you're, got a bunch of snow or whatever, we live somewhat close to, it's not like a busy road or anything, but we get traffic. It's so much quieter in the winter than in the summer. Like when a four-wheeler goes by, it's crazy loud. That snow kind of sucks a lot of that out. Well, I want to read this. Practical Madness. Had a wolverine encounter. I had a fly rod for protection. Thankfully, it was traveling downriver and barely noticed me. Whew. Wolverines, as far as I know, the only thing that can back a bear up out of fear is a freaking wolverine. Them suckers are mean. They're really mean. They're not very common either. So you are lucky in two ways. I didn't notice you and lucky to have seen a wolverine. Wherever you're at, I would love to see a wolverine in person. That would be a really, really special thing. Not too close, of course. Kaylee, Severance is fantastic. Yes, I know. It's so good. We're only 2 episodes in, and I'm getting back in the mode, and it stresses me out right from the beginning. I'm like, oh, I forgot about everything that's happening. Okay, I don't want to do any spoilers. Maybe you've seen further than me, so I'll wait. A Violent Mind. I love bears. My house is decorated in grizzlies, but I'm very aware you can't control nature. Even though I would hate for bears to be hurt, I can understand in self-defense. Yeah, everything dies. The number one thing that kills bears, a violent mind, is other bears. They're just... Have you ever seen those? If you love bears, you probably have. Like when they do the fights. One most recently, photographers, they were just getting so close, and you could hear the photographers like kind of whispering, like, oh my gosh. And they're trying not to be seen, I'm sure, but these 2 big brown bears just freaking going at it. It's crazy. Heather Fall, 60 below sounds terrifying. I've never been in weather below 10, negative 10, yes. And of course, that is Fahrenheit for anybody not in the U.S. Fahrenheit and Celsius meet at 40 below. But let's see, 60 below would be what? Like, I can't remember the conversion. I don't know. 60 below Celsius would be more Fahrenheit. Doesn't really matter. I just like doing it. Rory, it's just like a Christmas story. Ralph freezes his tongue. Yes, yeah, exactly. I was doing, I don't want to spoil a video I've got coming up. I got stuck to a few things, though, unintentionally. Alicia, I bet it's true sounds carry further in cold air because moisture muffles. So no moisture, no muffle. My educated guess. That makes sense. But then why it's 60 below did it seem? Because I don't know. It can be cold and moist, though. I don't know. Maybe not, actually. Easy BD, cold air means it has less energy, so it would be quieter in the cold. I got to believe it. Alicia's going to investigate for us. Like the particles have less energy. Don't know if that's true, EasyBD, but I'm going to trust you. On it. All right, who wants one more? And then I really got to go. I feel tired, but I like it. Where am I? Oh, there we are, darling. Carrying the remodeled light short-barreled military 30-40 Krag Jorgensen rifle I used that summer, and wearing a packboard. I lived with that packboard on my back. I hiked to the place the Packers described. A tremendous battle had obviously taken place there. All right, hopefully we get some context. I don't remember what this about. Anyways, a tremendous battle had obviously taken place there, for the ground in the area was the size of a football field, was torn up. Grass and bushes were flattened, and there was much blood and bear hair scattered about. Oh, yeah. Some bears fighting. Can't remember all the context, but here we go. Speaking of bear fights. Cautiously, I sneaked around, listening and watching. Near the edge of the timber, I found the body of a large adult brown bear with deep bites around his head and neck. I started to roll him over to inspect the damage on the underside when I heard a strange whistling, gurgling noise in the dense timber, perhaps 30 feet behind me. I grabbed my rifle, whirled, and threw off the safety, expecting the other bear to appear. Twigs cracked, and the strange whistling, gurgling sound gradually receded. I circled the timber patch and found a fresh blood-spotted trail leaving it. I was pretty sure the peculiar sounds came from the badly hurt victor of the bear fight, who had apparently winded or seen me and sneaked off. I always thought it would be sneaked off. Anyways, I followed his tracks in drops of blood for 8 miles along a deep, centuries-old bear trail off the Chetaslina to the Chetaslina River, and lost the trail on a gravel bar near the Chetaslina Glacier, which flows off some willow bushes. With a little grub cached in 5-gallon can, there I remained for the night. Next day I hunted for sheep, but I didn't see the injured bear. Late in the day I shot a large Dall ram and packed it back to the main camp the next morning. A few days later I was again hunting in the Chetaslina drainage. I located a band of sheep on a cliff near the glacier. Oh, this is a long one. All right, here we go. Buckle in, everybody. And I lost where I was. It's just a bunch of words. Okay, a few days later, I was again hunting in the Chetaslina drainage. I located a band of sheep on a cliff near the glacier about 2 miles from my camp, made a stalk, and killed a large ram. I dressed it, lashed it to my packboard, and started to pack it out. The glacier moraine was too rough for me to cross, and the cliffs were too steep to climb. But between the glacier and the cliffs was a fair-sized stream I could walk beside. Even there, the going was rough. It was one step or one jump at a time, from rock to rock. I heard rocks rolling behind me and turned to look. There, about 60 feet away, on his hind legs, stood a huge brown bear. As I turned, he dropped to all fours and galloped to within 30 feet, where he again stood up, shaking his head and growling. It was then that I heard the same strange gurgle whistle sound I'd heard at the site of the big bear battle. The bear was above me, and he was close. Too close. He was obviously unfriendly. Should I shed my packboard before I shoot, or should I just shoot? The bear dropped to all fours and bounded to within about 15 feet, where he again stood on his hind legs. I heard him growl with a humming sound that almost like a hive of bees. He appeared to be working himself into a rage, for the volume and pitch of the strange whistling sounds and the growls rose. Now I had no time to shuck my meat-heavy packboard. My life depended upon quick action. The bear could have been upon me in about 2 jumps. Sheep blood had soaked my overalls as I had dressed and handled and packed the sheep. I must have smelled like a freshly killed mountain sheep. The meat smell could have attracted the bear. He could also have been an old sorehead with a grudge after being torn up by the bear he killed. I noticed a spot of white fur on his neck, a good target. I'll just kill him with one shot in the neck before he gets to me, I decided. I threw the crag to my shoulder, held on the white spot, and fired. That huge bear stood and absorbed my 180-grain bullet. His only reaction was to bring both front legs up to make a half-choking, half-roaring sound. I fired again, aiming for the chest. He still stood on his hind legs. By the third shot, I was panicky, and I threw off to the left. This broke his shoulder and off-balanced him. He collapsed, falling backward. In moments, he was dead. I climbed out of the packboard, wiped sweat off my forehead, and examined the bear. In addition to the bullet holes I had put into him, he had deep wounds on his chest, neck, and head. I stuck my fingers into them. One of the wounds led to a gash on his windpipe. No doubt that was what had caused the peculiar whistling, gurgling noises. A patch of hide as big as a man's hand was missing from one shoulder. Myriads of white socks, tiny biting flies, were working on the raw flesh. He must have hurt all over from his wounds and from the bites of the flies. Apparently he had been in the high, cool mountains for some time, for although it was only early October, his rich, dark brown fur was quite heavy. Stretched after I skinned him, the hide squared 10 feet 4 inches, average of greatest length and greatest width. The brown and yellow, discolored teeth were worn nearly to gums, and he smelled strongly of salmon. No doubt he had been feeding on the fish on one of the tributaries of the nearby Copper River. He was far larger than most interior Alaska grizzlies, and he more resembled a big coastal brownie. What a nice name for a big bear, a brownie. Holy smokes, man. 30 feet away. My eyes are burning. Oh, yonsies. Sorry, fellas and ladies. Oh, goodness. I could go for a nap right about now. Still daylight out, though. Goodness, and we don't have long days. A Vital Mind loves bears. I already talked about that. Sorry. I think I'm still at the bottom of the chat here. So, anyways, guys, I think I'm going to freaking call it for today. I'm a little bit tired here, but Copper River salmon. Yeah, Copper River Reds. Holy smokes. Going down there, hopefully in a few months. It'll be more than a few months, 6 months or so. Get down there and get some good dip netting going on this year. But anyways, that was a lot of fun. I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to do. We can do more of this or we can do something different. But I'm not going to decide right now because I don't have it in me. All right. I don't know how to stop. I'm going to figure it out. See you guys.